Good morning. This is Dr. Clay Owens. I am your CSU CITC professor for this business ethics course. I've been with CSU since 1999, which is 20 years. I have been coming to Vietnam for CITC and CSU since 2004. That's 15 years. I've had several good trips to Vietnam, and I look forward to meeting and working with you on this course. Today we're going to be talking about business ethics. This is a live recorded online session, session 1. This is for the course MBA 6301, both sections, Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. Ethics is the study of values of how we ought to live. Ethics is used interchangeably with morals and values. Often ethics are tied to religious beliefs, standards by which we live and make decisions. Ethics also denotes systemic, rational reflection on a particular behavior, whereas you think about what you're doing. Business ethics is a subject that deals with moral guidelines and good corporate governance. Companies are supposed to set high standards and adhere to certain common business practices. There are certain guidelines about being honest and fair that everyone should follow. Ethics is a subject of social science that is related with moral principles and social values. Business ethics can be termed as a study of proper business policies and practices regarding potentially controversial issues. Some of those are corporate governance, that's how you run your board of directors, your officers, insider trading. Sometimes people give their friends ideas about things that are going on so they could buy stock early and try to make more money. Bribery, where government officials and others in authority are given payoffs to do certain things that might not be done otherwise. Discrimination, where people are treated unfairly because of race, religion, or sex. Corporate social responsibility, where you have to look after the world, you don't pollute. And fiduciary responsibilities, where you are reasonable with the money of the company. People often joke with me and some of the people that I work with that we are as tight with the company's money as we are with our own money. Businesses must abide by some basic principles. They should provide quality goods and services at reasonable prices to their consumers. They also must avoid adulteration, that is, shoddy products, misleading advertisements, and other unfair malpractices. In the United States, there are companies that are always offering these special deals, but then when you go in and find out more about it, it's nothing special. It's just a regular idea. A business must also perform other duties such as distributing fair wages, providing good working conditions, not exploiting the workers, encouraging competition. Now, that's one I have a little trouble with because sometimes you don't want a competitor. Lots of definitions of business ethics. It is considered your actions, your morals, your principles, your strategies, your responsibilities, your policies, your advantage that you have over other people. Just a lot of things are involved with it. There are many definitions of business ethics, but ones given by Crane and Baumhart are considered to be very good ones. Crane says, business ethics is the study of business situations, activities, and decisions where issues of right and wrong are addressed. So the study of situations, activities, and decisions, right and wrong. Baumhart says the ethics of business is the ethics of responsibility. The businessman must promise that he will not harm knowingly. In the United States, medical doctors deal with people who are ill and hurt, take an oath, and they become licensed doctors, called the Hippocratic Oath, based on teachings and records from Hippocrates back in ancient times. And one of their key items is that they will do no harm. So there are a number of features of business ethics that we're going to talk about. And in this particular list, we're going to talk about 8 items. You'll notice as we go through these slides and some of the other online lectures that I will give you and the in-person lectures is that I am given to like numbering items. I enjoy doing that. I like to say there are 8 things and then I talk about 8 things, or there are 3 things and I talk about 3 things. So we're going to talk about these 8 things about business ethics. Code of conduct. Business ethics is actually a form of a code of conduct. It lets us know what to do and what not to do. Businesses must follow their own code of conduct. Most businesses write their own code of conduct and enforce it on themselves. Ethics is based on moral and social values. Business ethics is a subject that is based on moral and social values. It offers some moral and social principles or rules for conducting a business. These may be part of the core values of your company. Many companies are making a list of core values that are important to them that they make known to their customers, stakeholders, and employees. Protection to social groups. Business ethics protect various social groups, including consumers, that be people that buy and use their products, employees, small business persons, government, shareholders, creditors, and others. So there are a lot of other groups that may have an interest in a business. It may be the people that live in an apartment complex next to the factory. They may be in need of some help. Ethics offers a basic framework. Business ethics is the basic framework for doing business properly. It constructs the social, cultural, legal, economic, and other limits in which a business must operate. The biggest things are the legal ones. You want to be sure that you are in compliance with the law. And in the United States, there are a lot of laws about ethical practices. Slide 5, voluntary. Business ethics is meant to be voluntary. It should be self-practiced and must not be enforced by law. Now, this is becoming more and more inaccurate because laws are being enacted at all times to enforce ethical behavior. Requires education and guidance. Businessmen should get proper education and guidance about business ethics. Trade associations and chambers of commerce should be active in this matter. Business ethics is a relative term. It changes from one business to another and from one country to another. Different things are considered okay in some countries, whereas they're not in others. Business ethics is a newer concept. Developed countries have more exposure to ethics, while developing countries are relatively inexperienced in applying the principles of business ethics. But as the world market grows and people are dealing with other countries more and more often, the concepts are becoming more universal. So there are some principles of business ethics. Avoid exploitation of customers. Do not cheat and exploit consumers with measures such as artificial price increases or reductions in quality. Sometimes you have to decide if you're going to raise the price or lower the quality. What we see often in the United States is that a large company might come up with a new size box of their product. And the new size box will look as big as the old one, but when you really read the number of ounces in the box, it's a smaller box, but at the same price as the old box. This is a common practice, and it is exploiting consumers. Avoid profiteering. Unscrupulous business activities such as hoarding, black marketing, selling banned or harmful goods to earn huge profits must be avoided. Often in the United States, there are items that are made illegal or need to leave out a certain ingredient when they're made again to be more safe. These old products that contain the harmful items are often sold at a higher price because they really do work better. Encourage healthy competition. Good competition in the United States to think about is the one between Pepsi-Cola and Coca-Cola. There have always been competitors. They date back over 100 years, and they both have similar products. They both offer similar other products like bottled water, bottled energy drinks, bottled fruit drinks, all kinds of different things, but they compete with each other. Now, I don't know that they really encourage competition between the others, but they live with the competition. Ensure accuracy. This goes back to something I was talking about earlier. Accuracy in weighing, packaging, and quality of supplying goods to consumers has to be followed. When I was in a business where we received certain items and were billed by weight, most notably uncooked chickens, I would weigh several of the boxes each week to see that the vendor was delivering us what they said they were. The boxes would be marked with pounds and ounces on the outside from the seller, and then I would check those on my scales when I purchased them. If I found any discrepancies, I would talk to the vendor and ask for a price credit for the amount of discrepancy I found for all of the products I had bought from them back to the last time I had talked to them about this issue. So it didn't always give me a lot of money, but it kept them honest. Pay your taxes regularly. Give to the government what is honestly and regularly due to them. The government in the United States will come and get you for the taxes. They will come and take your property, sell it to pay the taxes if you do not keep up with their payments. I'm sure that's true in other countries too. Get your accounts audited. It is very common practice for third parties to come in and check over the books. Proper business records and accounts must be managed well. Authorized persons and authorities should have access to these details. In the United States, if there's any question about it, the government can send their auditors in, either from the Internal Revenue, from state or local governments where you pay other taxes, just a whole lot of different ways that you can be checked and audited. There are huge firms across the United States that are known as auditors, CPA firms, certified public accountants. Fair treatment to employees. Fair wages or salaries, facilities, and incentives must be provided to the employees. You've read about that some in the Nike case in your Blackboard readings, where even though Nike was not a direct participant, they were blamed because the subcontractors that mistreated the employees were selling the products and making the products for Nike. So sometimes it's pretty far-reaching, the kind of problems you can have when things do not work out well for the employees. All employees deserve a safe place to work. They deserve a break room where they can eat a bite of lunch. They deserve a clean restroom they can go to. If possible, they deserve heat and air conditioning as necessary given the environment. The shareholders and investors must know about the financial and other important decisions of the company. The people running the company should not be keeping secrets from the stockholders. The stockholders should be informed of everything that is going on. The stockholders, in effect, own the company and are due lots of information. Avoid injustice and discrimination. Avoid all types of injustice and partiality to employees. Treating employees very, very well because you like them or treating other employees poorly because you don't like them is wrong. Employees, everybody should have a fair and equal chance to have a job and work and make a living. Discrimination based on any reason should be avoided. Things include gender, race, religion, language, nationality. Everyone deserves a chance to have a job, make some money, and look after themselves and their family. No bribes and corruptions. Expensive gifts, commissions, and payoffs to influential people should be avoided. These are kind of payments that are done behind the back, as you see in the small picture here. Bribery and other things are part of this. Often it's very tempting to pay someone in the government to get your license in a quicker manner, for paperwork to go through faster instead of slower. But sometimes you can get in a lot of trouble for this. There are crimes about it. There are laws about it in the United States. Discourage secret agreements. Sometimes there are countries, and a good example is OPEC, the oil producing and exporting countries. They make not secret agreements, they make open agreements about how much oil they're going to each one produce and sell worldwide. And by doing this, they manipulate the price of oil drastically. This has been a problem for quite a while for people like the United States who imported a lot of oil. The United States is now in a situation where they are producing more oil in the U.S. and are exporting oil. I actually saw this week where the United States had a ship arrive in Vietnam from the United States full of crude oil to be distilled and made into other products at a refinery in Vietnam. So the United States is trying to overcome some of these OPEC problems. Service before profit. That means you work very hard to keep your customers. In a marketing class, there is some issue that we discuss called the lifetime value of keeping a customer. And the idea that you need to treat your customers fairly and keep those customers for a long time is very important. Service first, profit second. Because if you don't get as much profit today because you do a little something extra for the customer, you'll make that profit up tomorrow because the customer will come back to you instead of to someone else. It's a very complicated idea. It's a very benevolent idea that a lot of people don't understand. Practice fair business. Businesses should be fair, humane, efficient, and dynamic. That is, a change when necessary to offer certain benefits to customers. Everybody should be treated well. Now, that's not to say that people who buy huge volumes of products might get a better price, and that certain customers might get a little bit of favorable treatment sometime because they come back and have been with you a long time. But just in general, you do not charge one customer a very, very high price and another customer a very low price. Avoid monopolies. Monopolies are considered to be unfair. Private monopolies and concentration of economic power should be avoided. These are considered to be unfair. In the United States, in the 1890s and early 1900s, there were lots of laws called antitrust laws, and these were related to the huge railroad companies and huge oil and power companies. Often now you see that they're heavily regulated by the U.S. government. Fulfill customer expectations. You need to adjust your business activities to the demands, needs, and expectations of the customers. In the United States, automakers are an example of people who've been slow to adjust. But slowly they have been changing automobiles, making them more reliable. They have slowly been changing automobiles and making them more of the types people want. A regular four-door sedan with a trunk is becoming less and less popular in the United States, while pickup trucks and big SUV vehicles are becoming more the standard. So they are trying to work around and meet these needs. Honor the basic rights of consumers. Consumers have human rights. Whereas everyone deserves to be treated fairly, no one should be sold a product that will hurt them. If someone buys milk, it should be fresh, it should not be sour. If someone buys a Coca-Cola, it should have plenty of carbonation in it, it should not be flat. These kinds of things. If someone buys a Duracell battery, it should have power in it. It should not be a dead battery when it's brand new. We generally call that an item that is DOA, dead on arrival. We try to avoid that. Accept your social responsibilities. Honor responsibilities towards your society. In the United States, most companies have some charitable works that they are involved with. They usually try to popularize this among their customers that, we do these additional things out of our profits to help the community. Some organizations allow their employees to go, while being paid for work, to go and volunteer at a charity place. Satisfy the consumer's wants. Satisfy the wants of the consumers as the main objective of the business is to satisfy the consumer's wants. The only way people are going to buy something from you is if they want it. If you have a large supply of something that is in low demand, you either need to find a way to increase the demand or you need to start not adding any more to your supply. There's a service motive. Quality service and consumer satisfaction should get more attention than just maximizing profits. You should pay attention to the customers, talk to them, see what they need, see what you can do to assist them with their needs. In the long term, this will pay off because they will come back to your business. Optimum utilization of resources. Ensure the optimum utilization of your resources to remove poverty and increase the standard of living of the people. This is sort of an altruistic, society-wide type idea, is that if you can run your business, you can provide jobs for you and your employees, you can sell a worthwhile product to other people, then you are making the world and your country a better place. Many people believe that the economy drives the well-being of the people. Intentions of business. You need to use permitted legal and proper means to run your business. You need to avoid things that are illegal, unscrupulous, immoral, or improper. So you see the little computer sign about you have performed an illegal operation, and then the other illegal sign in the corner. Being aware of the law is very important. There are many, many laws in the United States that people have to follow, and it is up to the citizen to figure out what those are and to follow them themselves. Woodrow Wilson was a president of the United States many years ago. He had 4 important principles of business that he talked about relating to ethics. These are his 4 items. Again, these are my numbered items. Woodrow Wilson's rule number 1, the rule of publicity. According to this principle, the business must tell the people clearly what it tends to do. You let people know what your business is. If it is a clothing store, then you say, Ed's Clothing Store, Ed's Liquor Store, Ed's Gambling Casino. Whatever it is, you put it on the sign, you put it on the door, you make it clear to people what you're doing. Woodrow Wilson's rule number 2, rule of equivalent price. The customer should get a proper value for their money. Below standard, outdated, and inferior goods should not be sold at high prices. Most businesses have 2 sections in the store. One section is the new items, the in-style items, the newest things, and they are charged a regular full price for those items. Usually over in the corner, there is a section that is the older items, the items that were new last year, the items that are not quite as nice. And these are usually over in a section and are well marked. In the United States, they often call it clearance because there are not as many of them there. There are not as many different styles or colors. And these are very often at a reduced price. They still might be at a profit for the store, but they are usually at a reduced price because they are below standard, outdated, or lower quality. So those should be at a lower price. The new, current, modern, high quality items should be at a higher price. Woodrow Wilson's rules, number 3, rule of conscience in business. The business people must have conscience while doing business. Remember that a conscience is a moral sense of judging what is right and what is wrong. Most people have a built-in sense of things that are right and wrong, what they think is okay to do and what is not okay to do. Generally, you learn this as a child. If you're a little kid and you hit your brother, your parent will tell you, do not hit your brother. So over time, you learn. If you take a piece of candy away from your sister and eat it, your parent will tell you that that is wrong and punish you. You will learn the things about what is right and what is wrong early on. Woodrow Wilson's rule number 4, the rule of spirit of service. The business must give importance to the service motive. Again, it's what we talked about. You pay attention to your customers. The lifetime value of keeping a customer is very high. They are worth a lot to you over a long period of time. You may not make the most out of it today. You may spend more time talking to them about what they need today, but they will come back tomorrow and it will be better. There are some examples we're going to go over of unethical business practices. There's a company, CITC Computers, which is a global IT company, was defamed in a list of companies involved in fraudulent financial activities. Other companies in this list include names such as Enron, WorldCom, Parmalat, Ahold, Allied Irish, Barings, and Kidder Peabody. I'm very aware of the one about Ahold. They're a foreign company from, I believe they were Dutch, from Amsterdam. And they own several large chains of hundreds of grocery stores in the United States. So it was a big problem when they had their financial difficulties and were in danger of having to close all their stores. It was going to cause distribution problems for citizens here. I think everyone heard about problems with Earl Enron, and several of them ended up in prison for some of the things they did. Satyam's CEO, Raju, accepted his role in a broad accounting of impropriety that had overstated the company's net revenue and profit. They had lied about their money. They said that they had over $1 billion that existed only in the books, not in reality. People often do this. They falsify their accounting records and even hide it from the outside auditors, sometimes successfully. In a letter to the board exposing the fraud, Satyam showed the seriousness of it. He also said what started as a marginal gap between actual profits and ones in the books continued to grow. It has attained unmanageable proportions. So he had to write this letter and send it to them, telling them that he had made some bad judgments. His ethics were no good. Later, he described it as it was like riding a tiger, not knowing how to get off without being eaten up. So once it started, you lied a little bit, then you tell another lie, then you tell another lie, and then you have to tell another lie to cover up the first lie, and then you tell different things to different people, and before you know it, you just don't know what you told to who, and you can't keep it up anymore. So just in general, my personal policy is I try to tell the truth all the time to everybody the best I can remember it. Because just in general, I can remember one thing that I told you, and I should be telling you the right thing. If I told 2 or 3 people 2 or 3 different things, then I couldn't remember very well which one I told to a different person. So I would have a lot of confusion and a lot of problems. So I just have to be honest and straight about everything. And I encourage you to be that way. Again, we're looking at business ethics, different types of ethics, principles, morals, your motivation, your personal morality. Business and ethics are at a crossroads. I hope that everyone involves their own ethics with what they're doing. Thank you. This concludes our first lecture. I am going to try to convert this item that I've just recorded into a YouTube video. We will see how well it works. And if that works, then you will be receiving 3 or 4 of these from me over the next few weeks. Thank you very much.